Hello and good morning, or good evening everyone. Coach Gassler here, and today we're going to be talking about specifically how to help a difficult client, or you can also use this to how to help yourself if you're a difficult person and you don't want to ask somebody for help. You can do this to yourself. So this is something that doesn't often get covered. I've covered a piece of this before, but it's a very important topic. People don't really have this knowledge. It's kind of about aiming low enough. So I've talked about in many of my videos how to set your goals low, how to set your goals, ways to set your goals, small goals done on a daily basis, incremental steps. But it doesn't matter if it's only a small amount of effort, a small amount of time, small amount of whatever on a thing, it will add up over time. I know these goals do need to kind of be strategically planned and laid out, but don't have anything set in stone. Now, as you make small improvements over time, each improvement will produce further improvement at a greater rate, as well as the upside that each improvement also produces the probability of new improvements as well as new opportunities for improvements. So to be clear, the first thing that you have to do when helping somebody, what I do anyways, or when helping yourself, is you have to actually establish what they want. What is their aim? Then, as I've said many times before, you have to break down what they want into small, attainable goals. And you have to aim low to do that. So you have to do this, and you have to plan it out over days or weeks or months or even years to implement it, and don't have anything set in stone. Just make sure you know the general direction you're going. Now, these things, they don't have to be structured like a prison, you know what I mean? They're negotiable. I'm not saying you have to work every single day. You don't have to stick to this plan like it was, again, like a prison. You don't have to do that. Everything is negotiable. So for example, I'll give you an example of this. So say I have a client come to me and say something along the lines of, I know I've been wasting a lot of time doing stupid things, and I don't know how to stop myself with all these bad habits. So one of my bad habits is I spend a lot of time watching television. I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that. So then my next question would be, well, how much time would you be okay with watching television per day? Like, what's your minimum you have to watch this much television? But again, this is a negotiation between myself and my client. However, there really is no difference between you doing this to yourself. If you don't want to involve someone else, you can do it yourself. You negotiate with yourself. You can ask yourself the question and just wait for a response, and then negotiate with yourself. You don't need me. So maybe they say they would be okay watching 1 hour a day, and that would not interfere with the rest of their life. Now that sounds okay to me, because if you're watching 3 hours a day, that could mean that you're not doing your studying, your reading, your hobbies, you're not paying attention to your work, you're not paying attention to your relationship, or with your goal chasing, with your children, whatever. 4 hours a day, it's a lot of TV. So they want to watch TV for an hour a day. Well, the next question would be, can you start watching an hour of TV today? Now, I have to make sure that my client understands that this is an honest conversation. They should not lie to me. They need to be honest, and they need to really think about these answers before they reply to me. I'm not going to judge them for their answers. Once again, it's the same when you're negotiating with yourself, guys. Think about the response, and the answer will come to you. Just be honest about it. So, say the person says to me, no, I don't think I can. I've already tried that lots of times, and every time I try to do that, I just fail. And I feel like a big failure. I feel like I've tried everything, and I'm just a failure. I can't do it, so I just gave up. So then my response would be, my response would not be, I should say, stop being a baby, you're a pussy, quit failing, try harder, whatever. That's not good. Now, I might sometimes think this, depending on the person, but I won't ever say it. That's not a strategy, and it's not helpful, and it's guaranteed failure. So once again, do not agree to do this with me or with yourself unless you're willing to drop your ego, because otherwise it's just a waste of both of our time. So it's very simple. If you have tried and failed over and over again, it's because you're not setting your aim and your goals low enough. You're not tracking the progress. I'll then ask, can you at least track how much time you spend watching television for a week? So for 7 days, don't change anything at all. Just track it by starting a timer every time you sit down to watch TV and then stopping the timer every time that you get up. Now the common answer I get is yes, I can do that, although I'll probably miss a few days or miss some times because I forgot. Now that's fine. Just do your best. So for the next 7 days, how much time did you spend watching television? So at the end of the week, they will contact me. They'll tell me, turns out I was watching about 4 hours a day. I did miss a few days, but that's about it. I said, excellent, that's fantastic. So now we know the perimeters of your problem. Basically, we know how big of a monster it is, and it's a little bit worse than we actually thought it was, but at least you have enough sense to listen to me and you measured it. So now we know it's like, whatever, 25, 28 hours a week. You can't fix something you can't see, and you can't see something if you can't measure it. There's no way to reliably do these things unless you track them. You have to know that you're making progress. So happiness is not a goal attainment. It's not when I got my goal, I'm so happy for a year now. No, happiness is actually pursuing the goal. It's the journey and you viewing the small incremental steps towards the goal. That's happiness. So anyways, the next step I would say something along the lines of, can you cut that down to 3.5 hours of television a day? Now, typically the person will think to themselves, no, I'm pretty pathetic, and I don't actually think I'll be able to do that. So I'll say, okay, well, how about the next week, the next 7 days, somewhere in those 7 days, 2 of those days, you're only allowed to watch television for 3 hours. So they have a goal. So then they think to themselves, yeah, I can do that, absolutely. It's a low goal, but it's a goal. Now, I'm going to keep stressing, it does not matter how big the step is. All that's important is that it's in a forward direction, towards a direction where you want to go, the right direction, heading the direction you yourself want to go. Incremental movement towards that goal is movement towards the goal. It's more than you had going on before. So anyways, the person will then think, well, I can do that. And they'll come back to me 7 days later, and they'll tell me they managed to spend 3 hours a day watching TV for 3 days, and the rest of the days were their normal 4 hours. Well, I'm very excited, although they generally are not. The reason I'm excited is because they just got rid of almost 13% of the time that they spend wasting in front of the television. And they did that in 1 week. So put it a different way, you're 1/8 of the way in fixing your problem, and you did it in only a single week. Now, if they keep that up, the problem is gone completely in 2 months. And, I mean, they have an extra 4 hours a day, 28 hours a week, or 112 hours a month. That's a lot of extra time. Now, when I do this math and I break it down to the person like this, they're always pretty happy when it's actually explained mathematically. But that's because it was tracked so you could see it. Now, say the person understands this, and they do the math, and they're still not happy. The reason they're not happy is because they don't understand the projection. The projection is kind of like a snowball effect. You grab a snowball, you roll it up, it gets bigger. It shows how you take your first baby step, but it leads to dramatic improvement over time. That's where patience comes in. So think of a stereotypical line graph, but the red line in the center is going to be going up at a 45-degree angle, though I mean it would zig and zag a bit. So, well, they're currently thinking to themselves, I'm still pretty shitty, I'm still pretty pathetic, because I'm still watching 25 hours of TV a week. That's not good. I mean, that's pretty shitty. So I say, okay, yeah, I get that, but you just made a marketable, measurable improvement, and it's a big move in the right direction. 13% is a big improvement in 1 week. Now, very simple. The next step on the days you did manage to succeed, how did you do that? How did you succeed? What steps or method? Did you block time? Did you use a timer? Did you go somewhere else? Did you go to a friend's house? Did you take a walk? Go to the gym? What did you do so you weren't mindlessly staring at a television, not even retaining the information? Anyways, the next question would be, is there any way you can do the same thing I told you to do last week, but this week you do it for 4 days instead of 3 days, or maybe even do 5 days? Now, it has to be very clear to the person and to you listening that this is not a linear progression. It's not a straight, perfect line. It's a zigs and a zags. You're going to have good days, you're going to have bad days, good weeks and bad weeks. It's more important that you track your progress over larger periods of time, like a month. It's just like weight loss. If you're if you're going to measure yourself on a scale every single day, you won't really see it's happening. It's like if you look at yourself in a mirror every single day, you don't see the changes until you look at past pictures of yourself. If you were to measure yourself only once a week on the scale and take a step back and look at it from a monthly perspective, you would see yourself losing 4 or 5 pounds in a month, as opposed to not really seeing it happen. But that's because you see the progress and you're able to see the progress going towards your goals. Well, that's going to make you a lot happier. So generally, by taking a step backwards and looking at a larger time frame, you'll get much more hopeful about the future, much more confident about your ability to change in the direction you want to go. Patience, guys. You got to have this patience. You can't just have everything right now. It doesn't work that way. Now, you do just have to keep imagining what would happen if you stick to this small progress over periods of days, weeks, months, and years. Think about what's going to happen 5 years from now if you deliberately make incremental progress in every direction that you want to go. You can do everything yourself. You have access to the internet. You have access to people like me who want to help you. There's no reason you can't. You have no reason to wait. You have no excuse not to start. It just starts with a commitment from yourself to say, I can do something to make myself better. Let me think what that thing could be, and then apply it. If you found these videos helpful, please give my channel a like and a subscribe, of course. This game of life, like I talked about, is all about percentages and incremental growth. And in order for me to grow and to help more people, I do need your help too. And everyone, please help me get those little percentages to grow and educate others, to get these videos so they understand these things. Comment below for any questions you may have, or if the video helped you, please. I always like those positive comments too. And of course, if you have any questions, go ahead and email me. Go to my website. Everything's linked below. There's no stopping you guys. There's literally nothing stopping you except that the self-imposed limits that you place on yourself, trying to keep other people happy, whose lives, they're not even yours. Guys, we're all in this together. We all want to get better. I'm doing it. I'm going to be doing it every day and making my own small incremental steps. I'm going to keep making these videos. That's part of my steps. You guys can do it too. We're going to do it together. Keep watching these videos. Yes, you can. Now, go get some.